because he's a qualitaholic. I'll come into that a little bit later. Walt Disney, because like Crystal and Ricardo, we back to storytellers. And Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, because we just need to have fun. And we need to have fun even if I log into an online bank. Believe me, it's nothing to be boring about. So let's start here. So insanely connected, and we all heard about things like the Internet of Things. And I think it's an interesting kind of, let's dig into that a little bit more, but let's look at some data that we have. These are old data now, so Facebook is probably up to 945 million members. I'm not a big, massive Facebook fan, but these numbers are truly impressive. And if you're having kind of that kind of traffic, 1 trillion page views last year, is quite a lot of kind of, communication that could happen, and we need to be able to decipher what people say in those kind of, with those kind of stories. And I've been into Facebook quite a lot, and it is mind-boggling the number of journeys that you can figure out to get your brand to be connected and shareable. You're missing one page and the whole experience falls. Now, it's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about wearable power. So, the two examples here is the guy on the left with the arm is something I've been tried in Los Angeles. It's a power arm. So, it's to stop crime fighting. So, the arm can do a few clever things. It can film the kind of criminal. It can obviously punch him really hard. It can also stun him with a stun gun. But the reason why it's interesting is that they realize that people being filmed in the middle of the act, if you so like, are more likely to confess. So they're not using it just only to kind of show that they have unlimited powers, but they're combining technology to do something different than was intended to do. The other example is the military. This guy here with his, he just folds down. My favourite, bionics. We talked about it quite some time. Bionics is kind of digital means being kind of added on to humans. And we all think that's science fiction. So the little boy here, Eden, he was born deaf, can't hear a thing, right? So now they have connected 2 microphones and connected it to his brain cells so he actually physically hear things, right? And it's the same with the lady, Sue Ann. She has got 2 cameras in her eyes and she sees things. It's not just that she has an image, she actually sees them. And we've seen kind of bionic arms like that, and we've seen now the Paralympics in kind of, and what I'm getting to is that what happens when we get the first native bionic people who's going to have body parts that is kind of actually digital rather than kind of human in a sense. And I think my favorite here, my theory, is that information today is that gives us power, and it gives us more power if we have more information than the third world. But actually, if everybody would access that information, then something that you make will be much more powerful. So the kind of the practitioners will be the new kind of gold, if you so like. So let's move on from there. This is kind of connecting to what Chris said. Somebody please need to help me with a number in blue. What is it? Anybody? I still can't figure it out. Anyways, what it means is that with IP6, getting a little bit technical on you now, these are the number of possible internet addresses, and that is 100 internet addresses per atom on the face of the Earth. Now, I have no idea what that means, guys, so I can't say that I do. But I know that all that data is going to mean we need to kind of decipher a lot of stories to make sense of all that data. Because we have trouble today about, I have all these data points, but it's nothing in comparison when you can have an internet address related to my fabric of my clothes, or a kind of, in my shampoo, stuff like that. But it's kind of, it's just going to get there, guys, and it's kind of warning you. So let's figure out what we do with those stories. That's the responsibility from the UX community to make sure that we understand not just the technology and creative, but actually how to tell that story in the middle. Google has always been about this kind of constantly connected customer, and I thought it was interesting, and this is not even kind of that connected, but I thought I was going to show you a little video, if you haven't seen it, about the Google glasses. And then I don't need to click anything when I do my slides.
Oh man, really? Hand it back. Sweet. Remind me to buy tickets for Monsieur Ganon tonight. Where's the music section? Oh, yes, this is it. It's all here now? Hey dude, how's it going? Sure. Hey, just a second. Cool.
Good to see you again.
Thanks, man. See you, dude. Whoa, cool. Take a photo of this. Share it to my circles. Oh, I'm running late. Music, stop.
Hi, what's up?
Hey,
Hey.
you want to say something cool?
Yeah, sure. Is that you delayed?
Yep. Okay, here goes.
That's beautiful.
So only in America will you have that cheesy ending. What I'm trying to get to is that this is seen as kind of, oh, that's the next thing. It's not even connected. It's just a pair of glasses that are connected to the internet. It's not even kind of native available. So I think that kind of, we just need to set the bar a little bit higher than that to kind of make something useful. If this is useful for everybody, I'm not quite sure. Would I use it? Probably for a little bit, and then I kind of get irritated and throw it away. But it's kind of, it's a nice start somewhere. So let's move on. Let's talk about qualitaholic. So Jonathan Ivey, the reason I picked him was that who else would go and study samurai sword making for 18 months just to figure out what metal he should use in the laptop, right? And that's the level of kind of attention to details that we cannot miss. And the reason I'm saying it is that with so many journeys and so many people with so many connections, we just can't miss a beat, because then we are kind of into something, a space where we don't want to be. And I think that I'm going to tie this into kind of creativity, because quality, as I noticed, can have so many different meanings. It's quite subjective. But in creativity, so I'm just done a little timeline. So we were pretty good at this in the beginning of time. So the earliest paint workshop, obviously 100,000 before Christ. We then kind of trying to record information. We then had kind of cave paintings when we kind of trying to express ourselves. We then kind of have early attempt to writing after 6,000 years before Christ. And then what we did, we had the oldest papyrus. We learned to write, we needed paper. And then we're trying to come out, the first written document is actually 1700 years before Christ. It's a piece of stone that they kind of plopped onto. Anyway, so we were pretty good at this. We did something, we needed something else, we moved on. What we tend to do today, this is where it went wrong. And this is about kind of placing betting on the right horse, if you so like. But we invented the telegraph, and then we invented the telephone. And the first telephone call was a telegraph message. Right? So then we invented radio, and the first in the radio was a conversation between two people. It's the telephone call, a radio. Then we had TV. The first TV show was a radio broadcast. And then we had internet, and we're trying to get TV into the internet. So what we're really good at is to look behind and say, this worked in that medium, so let's apply it to this. And I don't think it's good enough. We can't be in that space. We need to get more responsibility for that. So when you move into the computer and social networks was invented in 1997, no, social networks was invented when people learned to speak. That's when the first social network happens. And I think that we then get into being social mobile, and we go mobile to cloud computing, and all that kind of thing. And we're always looking back, and we can't. So again, I think that there's some responsibilities here between, especially these disciplines, user experience people like me, creative like Chris, and technology people that we don't have in the building at the moment, that they just need to work better and not looking back too much. And I think that if this is the benchmark, I'm not sure if you have Zipcar in Madrid. Zipcar is a car rental, but there is no people involved. So the car's parked on the street. I have a membership. I have an iPhone. I book it with my iPhone. I go to the car, I wave my iPhone, the doors locks up, it unlocks, there's a key, I drive away, I park it, I lock it, I leave. Right? So very cleverly they're taking two different things and mashed them up. Car rental, digital technology, and they did a service from it. And this is seen as great. And it is good, but it can't be the end and be all. We just need to strive toward something more relevant for the use and brand that we use. So I think it's there's some responsibility there. The last bit is storytelling. I don't know. We used to always say a few years ago, we had arguments with the clients, right? And we said, have you asked the user? And they said, yeah, and what did they say? Well, they said this. And we said, well, they're saying that and you want to do that, why? Now that argument is dead. We can't trust that anymore because like Chris said, users lie. I've seen it in so many user research guides over the years. I've seen people say, always use the same username and password, and we ask them to log in, and they say, I forgot it. It's like, how can you forget something that you always use? So it's they want to be good, right? So storytelling has two things. So I think that we need to be very careful about this. So you can either adopt a consumer, which means you ask the user, you iterate, you review, you iterate again, and you change, and you feel good about it because you're doing what the customer wants you to do. So, or you can adopt the consumers. So the most open brands, perceived openness, like Apple, is the latter. They give you no freedom whatsoever. They have a roadmap. They adopt you to the way that they want you to behave. So the first iPhone, they could do copy and paste, they didn't, because they didn't think you were ready for that yet. They didn't need it in that kind of release. Even if you had said, oh, I want to be able to copy and paste on my iPhone, they would say, oh, screw that. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to do this. So you have to balance this about what brand perception you have and what you want to create. So if you don't think about a storyline, it used to be very simple in the beginning. We started having an email or a web page, and then it became a website, and then you have multi-channel, which was different devices. We then have social, we're moving into cloud. But what happened when we get bionics and real intelligent robots? Like what's the story for them? And we've seen this slide so many times today that it's it's important that we figure out what to communicate in these different channels. And actually, there's a snapshot of devices that customers use that we need to adopt and tell a story in. And I think that if you then look at this a little bit theory, guys. So 4 axes: undivided attention, continuous partial attention. I explain it in a second. Snap and binge. That's how we think about content. So somebody binge on content. So for example, they ran 24 and they watched that for 24 hours. All they do is undivided attention for 24 hours and they're going to watch it. On the other hand, they have a record of TV. And I want to see this later, or I want to pick it up, or catch up TV, all that kind of thing. It's the same kind of media, but it's kind of, in this case, you don't have the full attention. They might do other things on the other side. Snacking is obviously a shorter period of time. So the good example of snacking would be, you know, on a web browser, you have 10 different tabs open, and you flip between them all. You're not kind of not interested in the other ones, it's just that you can't decide what you're going to do, so you flip between them. So you have partial, you have this kind of continuous partial attention. What I'm trying to say to you is that depending on where the customers are and what mode or what mental model they have, you will have to adopt the content. And there is no good any longer to just have the same content, the same story, and just kind of burst that out in different channels. It won't work. You need to kind of adopt to how people want to consume the content. So you might need to allow for kind of mini version of a game or subscription model rather than kind of selling something full out. Last bit is fun is the new black. So cheesy slide, but what I'm trying to say here with these stories, if you have something interesting to say it. But don't be afraid of provoking emotions with people. So everything is so neatly kind of squaring with it. We can't, when we come up, can't we make people cry? So why should you do that? Well, I mean, I'd rather have somebody crying than not caring about what I'm looking at. So it's not, I'm not saying that you should get people to cry all the time, but I'm saying that, use the content and really provoke emotions with these people. That's how you're going to get the connection. Exactly like they said before. You're not getting it kind of because they see a nice message. They want to be engaged with it, otherwise they won't stick. So I think that this is not a learning point, but just get out of their way, I think, is the other angle. Don't be in the face all the time. There's a survey done that they asked people about which brands would you invite for dinner party? Why would you? But anyways, that's what they are. These 5 always comes up. And you ask people why? Because they say they are perceived as fun. And that's the only reason they give to why they have invited all these kind of brands to the dinner party year after year after year. So there is something with fun, and you don't need to be a massive brand like they are to have fun. Here's some good examples. It doesn't maybe mean that much in Madrid, you should have used a better example. The Mini, they did kind of, this looks like a black cab that we have in London, right? It was a little bit of fun they did. This guy here, he's actually the CEO of Qatar Airlines. And he's asking his Facebook friends which costume he should use for his Halloween party. It's pretty bold, right? It's kind of from the CEO. Angry Birds, we all know and how the franchise has created. It's just a snacking moment of fun that has led into film and led into, I mean, I was in Sweden the other week. They have sweets with Angry Birds. And it didn't make me kind of go, oh, these are nice, but at least it provoked an emotion in me. You say, actually, I don't want to buy this again because they're disgusting. But my kids love it, so there we go. And I think I have a little bit of time, so I might do it today. The last bit here is Lego. And I will play a video. It's quite a strong language in the video, so if you're sensitive, you have to kind of keep your ears shut. But what I want to say is that to have fun. So Lego, a few years ago, there was 20 years jubilee of the Mini-Man figure. So Lego thought, oh, beautiful. Let's be Danish and proud and do this beautiful video of a little Lego figure and his history, and they released it to the world, and about this many people saw it. None. They were not interested in looking at that nice story. Sometimes brands can't use their own voice to tell that story. So in this case, Eddie Izzard, which is kind of a comedian in the UK, got a hold of this kind of thing, and you will see, and he did a sketch. The sketch is placed in the Death Star canteen, right? It's kind of, so, and I can't tell you how many hits, and this is the only one I need to go and click for, but if you're sensitive, don't listen too hard, but it's just kind of amazingly fun.
Well, there must have been a Death Star canteen, yeah? There must have been a cafeteria downstairs, in between battles, where Darth Vader could just chill and go down. I will have the penne alla Arabia. You'll need a tray. You know why. Do you know who I am? This is not a game of who the fuck are you. For I am Vader. Darth Vader. Lord Vader. I can kill you with a single thought. But you'll still need a tray. No, I will not need a tray. I do not need a tray to kill you. I can kill you without a tray, with the power of the Force, which is strong within me. Even though I could kill you with a tray if I so wished. For I would hack at your neck with the thin bit until the blood flowed across the canteen floor. Now the food is hot. You'll need a tray to put the food on. Oh, I see the food is hot. I'm sorry. I did not realize. Oh, yes. I thought you were challenging me to the fight to the death. Fight to the death? This is canteen. I work here. Yes, but I am Vader. I am Lord Vader. Everyone challenges me to a fight to the death. Lord Darth Vader. I'm Darth Vader. Sir Lord Vader. Sir Lord Darth Vader. Lord Vader of Sheen. Sir Lord Baron von Vaderham. The Death Star. I run the Death Star. What's the Death Star? This is the Death Star. You're in the Death Star. I run the star. This is the star. This is the fucking star. I run it. I'm your boss. You're Mr. Stevens. Who is Mr. Stevens? He's head of catering. I'm not head of catering. I am Vader. I can kill catering with a thought. What? I can kill you all. I can kill me with a thought. Just fuck. I'll get a tray. Fuck it. This one's wet. And this one's wet. And this one's wet. This one is wet, this one is wet. Did you dry this in a rainforest? Why? With the power of the Death Star, do we not have a tray that is fucking dry? Do not... No. I was here first. You have to form a queue if you want food. Can I have a penny arrabbiata? That'd be very nice. No. Do you know who I am? That's Jeff Vader, that is. I'm not Jeff Vader, I'm Darth Vader. What, Jeff Vader runs the Death Star? No, I run the Death Star. You Jeff Vader? No, I'm Darth Vader. Are you his brother? Can you get his autograph? I can't get it. No, I'm Jeff. Alright, I'm Jeff Vader. I'm Jeff Vader. Can I have your autograph? No, fuck off. Or I'll kill you with a tray. Give me penny alla arrabbiata or you shall die. And you, and everyone in this canteen. Death by tray it shall be.
So, anyway, obviously Lego couldn't have done this themselves, but this is kind of, this is fun, right? It's kind of, my kids love it, they shouldn't listen to it, but they love it. And kind of when you get the hold of this, and then kind of trying to figure out kind of how you use and how to value place and things, that's kind of why I love my job. That's kind of, I wish I had done that, but it's kind of, it's part of kind of what I said, I love this is the best job in the world, but you get these snippets of inspiration sometimes, and it's kind of be a little bit brave. Flip the script that we normally would say internally, and I think kind of that is sort of it for today. I think that these are the 4 things that a user experience person needs to be on top of going forward. So it is to do with data, but it's about kind of making sense of the data and actually figuring out what technology can deliver that data in an emotional story to the end customer. And so that's kind of will be the kind of the final things. And I think that where the storytelling comes in is obviously kind of we need to rub out some perception that kind of about the technology is boring or this is kind of one side or another. So I think it's just kind of about blending all those skills together. And I can't live without Chris. He probably could live without me, I'm not sure. But technology I can't live without either. So just the last example is that, so in a MacBook, beautiful as it is, the real kind of innovation, I guess, or invention, is the chip. It's the kind of little chip they're having. But actually, without the packaging, the beautiful GUI, this product wouldn't be half as good as it is. So you need technology creating UX to actually make something happen. And with that, I say thank you. That's kind of, I need to present, you clap first.